God keeps his promises. He established through Jacob the divine kingdom. God always keeps his promises. His timetable is not our timetable, and that's something we all struggle with. We want God's timetable now. All of us do. But yet God has a perfect timetable. God always does what he says he will do. In the last few minutes, let me ask you this. What's your Genesis 36 situation? You question whether God's word really is right. And you wonder if it really pays to serve the Lord and to live for him, because you see all the things around that just don't seem to be making sense. Genesis 36 teaches us that based on the way things are now, you can't discount the promises of God or conclude that he was wrong in what he said. It's just one chapter. There's an entire history yet to be lived. Throughout history, God always keeps his promises. And it might look like, man, God said this, but everything around me is just not going that way. God said if I seek him first, that all the other things will be taken care of. But boy, it just doesn't seem that way right now. It's one chapter. I do like to read, and I read pretty often. Some years I read a lot more than others. I never do usually read a lot of novels. Maybe 10 or 12 a year. You say, well, that's more novels than I read, and that's fine. I tend to read other type of books, but I tend to read, on average, a novel maybe every month, something like that. There's something that's genetic in me, and I see it in one of my kids. And I notice this when I watch movies. I love drama and action and suspense movies. But you know what drives me nuts? I like comedies, but the suspense in comedy movies just drives me insane. And I have one of my kids, and I won't embarrass. It's one of the four. You got a 1 in 4 chance of guessing it, and without asking their permission, I'm not going to embarrass them. But one is just like me, and it's funny. I'll sit there and I can watch a suspense courtroom drama, and I'll just be sitting there as even keeled as all get out, and I'm enjoying it and liking it, and I love those law movies and law shows. I always have. But a suspense comedy where everything's got to come together, and you're like, oh, and I just sit there at the edge of my seat, and it's driving me nuts. My stomach's flip flopping, and I'm sweating. It's really silly. I don't know why I'm that way. One of my kids is the same way. And I always have to remind myself, well, and actually, one day Lisa, what are you doing that for? You know it. It's a comedy. It's going to turn out. I said, I know, but I don't know why I do that. Yet I'm not that way in the heavy dramas and things like that. It's just the way I am. It's my makeup. It's just one part of the movie. Genesis 36 is one chapter among 50 in this book, but it's one slice of what God was doing. And what we see here, we see him flourishing, we see Esau, everything's going great for him, but eventually, what God said would happen, did happen. The elder did serve the younger. The elder did exactly what God said he would do. There were two nations. The one is stronger even today. And throughout God's throughout God's millennial kingdom, that 1,000 years that is yet in the future, it will still be the same.